Imagine a time when humanity was just beginning to rebuild after a catastrophic flood. Kingdoms were non-existent, cities were yet to be born, and power was still scattered among nomadic tribes. Then came a man who changed everything. A mighty hunter, a conqueror, a ruler whose name would echo through the corridors of history, Nimrod. But who was he really? A hero? A tyrant? Or something even more mysterious? Let's dive deep into the legend of Nimrod. Nimrod was the great-grandson of Noah, descending from Ham through his son Cush. This lineage places him in a critical post-flood era, a time when humanity was regrouping and rediscovering how to thrive in a changed world. Ham, Noah's son, was often associated with settling in regions of Africa and the Middle East, and Cush, his descendant, was linked to Ethiopia and parts of Mesopotamia. Nimrod, emerging from this line, inherited not only a rich heritage but also an insatiable drive to carve out his own dominion. Unlike his forefathers who remained nomadic or loosely settled, Nimrod sought something greater: power, civilization, and control. His ambition wasn't just personal, it was transformative, laying the groundwork for the first known empire in recorded history. The Bible tells us that Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord. But what does that actually mean? Some scholars believe he was a literal hunter, a warrior who defended early settlements from wild beasts and rival tribes. Others suggest it was metaphorical. Nimrod wasn't just hunting animals, he was hunting power. His ambition and cunning set him apart, allowing him to dominate those around him through sheer strength and leadership. But was he hunting power for the sake of civilization, or was he challenging the divine order itself? Some interpretations suggest that his might and defiance were not in alignment with God's will, positioning him as one of the earliest symbols of rebellion against divine authority. Nimrod didn't just settle down like other men. He built many cities. He conquered and unified most of the tribes in Mesopotamia. Nimrod established the first recorded kingdom in history, the kingdom of Shinar. The cities of Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh were his domain. But these weren't just random settlements. Each of them served a strategic purpose. Babel became the cultural and religious center, a hub of architectural and ideological innovation. Erech, known later as Uruk, was a stronghold of commerce and art. Akkad flourished as a seat of administration and governance, setting a precedent for future empires. Calneh, though lesser known, was a crucial military outpost, reinforcing Nimrod's expanding reach. And his ambitions didn't stop there. Nimrod pushed further into Assyria, where he founded Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Rezin, cities that would not only expand his reach but also embody his defiance against God's will. Nineveh, later one of the greatest cities of antiquity, would become infamous for its wickedness, drawing the judgment of God himself when the prophet Jonah was sent to call for repentance. But in Nimrod's time, it was a city of arrogance and excess, a testament to human pride that sought to rival divine authority. Its grand palaces and towering walls were not just monuments to his vision but to his rebellion. His empire was not merely about conquest, it was about shaping a world where man, not God, was supreme. An enduring legacy of defiance that would influence generations to come. How did he do it? Ruthless ambition for one, but also dangerous cunning. Nimrod was more than just a warlord. He was a tyrant who knew how to manipulate people. He didn't unite tribes for their benefit. He subdued them under his iron fist, forcing them into his vision of absolute control. His was not a reign of prosperity but one of defiance against divine authority. But what is power without a grand symbol to showcase it? Nimrod's most infamous act was leading the construction of the Tower of Babel. This was not just a grand architectural feat, it was an outright rebellion against divine authority. The goal was to build a tower so high that it would reach the heavens, a direct challenge to God's dominion over mankind. Nimrod sought to centralize power, to control humanity by keeping them unified under his rule rather than obeying God's command to spread across the earth. This was more than just a building project. It was a declaration of war against the divine order, a monument to human pride and defiance. He sought to make a name for himself, to elevate man to a godlike status, disregarding the limits set by the Creator. But in his arrogance, Nimrod failed to foresee the inevitable consequences of challenging the Almighty. But the heavens were not pleased. According to the biblical account, God saw the arrogance of humanity and took action. He descended to witness their defiant project, and seeing their prideful ambition, confounded their language, making it impossible for them to communicate. Chaos erupted among the builders. Confusion spread, arguments broke out, and the once unified people turned against one another. As the workers abandoned their task in frustration, the tower stood incomplete, a shattered monument to human pride. What was meant to elevate mankind to the heavens instead became a stark reminder of the consequences of defying the divine. Scattered across the earth, the people carried with them the memory of their failure, while Nimrod's greatest dream crumbled, literally and figuratively, under the weight of divine judgment. What happened to Nimrod after the Tower of Babel? That's where history and myth intertwine. Some say he persisted in his reign, refusing to acknowledge the lesson of Babel's downfall and instead pushing his agenda further into new lands. Others claim his arrogance grew uncontrollable, leading him to demand godlike worship from his people, elevating himself above all moral and spiritual authority. But his defiance could not last forever. Some accounts suggest he met his end at the hands of a rival, a fitting consequence of the ruthless ambition he cultivated. Others say divine justice caught up with him, striking him down as a warning to all who dared to challenge the sovereignty of God. But one thing is certain: his name endured. Nimrod became a symbol of ultimate human arrogance, both feared and condemned. His story served as a warning, a tale of those who sought to rival the divine and fell into ruin. The echoes of his defiance shaped the myths of tyrants, fallen empires, and the perils of unchecked ambition. So what can we learn from Nimrod's tale? It's a story of ambition, of strength, of the drive to build something greater than oneself. But it's also a cautionary tale, one that warns us about the dangers of unchecked power, of hubris, of reaching too far, too fast. Perhaps Nimrod's real legacy isn't just in the cities he built or the stories told about him. Maybe, just maybe, his story serves as a reminder that no matter how high we build, there are always limits. And sometimes, those limits aren't meant to be broken. What do you think? Was Nimrod a misunderstood hero or a tyrant who got what he deserved? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history's most legendary figures. Until next time, keep exploring the past. It's got more stories than we could ever imagine.